Hello traders, what's up? Vladimir here from Home Trader Club. Welcome to another day trading opportunities video. And before we begin, big thanks to 8Cup Broker for supporting our community. I want to remind you that all the offers we have with 8Cup Broker are available for you with the link below this video in the description that includes the access to all of our tools, private sessions, and much more. Take a look on the link below this video in the description. In today's video, we have two great opportunities, the pound dollar, the Aussie dollar, and I want first of all to start this as a non-farm payroll week. Okay, on Friday we have non-farm payroll news, which means sometimes such weeks could be less technical than usual. However, the levels are there, the opportunities are there, so let's take a look what do we have. By the way, all these tools you will see on the chart, as always, are available for you as part of our all-inclusive membership. You can find all the information with the link below this video in the description. And if you don't know what are these day trading opportunities, make sure you watch or join the playlist there so you are notified when I upload these day trading opportunities for you, and hopefully you will find them interesting. So what do we have here on the pound dollar? A couple of very interesting things before the levels. The pound dollar, which managed to break the rising trend line, comes to retest it after making the two waves to the downside. It now comes to retest, and take a look where we are in terms of the levels. There are a couple of key zones which I want to pay attention to. The first one, of course, is here. The last high of the downtrend and the retest zone, supply area, absolutely phenomenal zone. The next one is these two highs, that's supply levels. Last high acts as supply in the uptrend, and I marked this zone, all the spikes here, that's also very important supply area on the pound dollar. So that's in terms of the higher time frame and where we stand in terms of supply levels. Now let's break down to the lower time frame. Okay, take a look where we stand here. I'll zoom on a little bit. Look at the sessions. In terms of sessions, we had several sessions in a row rally. After that, we managed to see the bounce happening. That's a fantastic retrace during the New York session, the beginning of New York session. Now, you remember the supply zone we discussed before. Take a look on the pivot resistances. The white line here, this is the pivot from the previous week. This is the first resistance zone of the current week. We are now at that very area. This is a classical pivot-based zone. So daily supply zone is daily resistance, is here as well. So this is a very strong area, and any retrace closer to that zone, I believe, as long as the area holds, should lead the pressure to the downside. I believe that should open the doors for the pound dollar to go back to the area between the daily and the weekly pivot levels. So this is the pound dollar first key zone. Second key zone, as I marked before, was here. The supply area we saw from the 4-hour chart, a lot of inner small candles there, and also it is the weekly second resistance area based on the pivots. It is the 4-hour chart key level based on the KTLI indicator of ours, based on the volume profiles, of course. And you can see the previous week, couple of weeks, also surrounded by pivot levels there, pivot resistances. So right now we have this zone. This is the volume profile based area, which means tons of transactions are happening there. This is a balance zone, an area that is agreed between the buyers and the sellers. As long as it holds, the pressure, as we discussed, to the downside. If it managed to rally to the next zone, then watch out for what? For the bearish divergence. We want to see the rally, but also ending conditions. While the market makes higher highs, we want to see lower highs on the indicator. And from there, if we leave the balance zone, it will be in the imbalance zone, and then the pressure to return back inside would increase. And the next one I want to cover is the Aussie dollar, which is also very interesting one. And it has two key levels as well, which I want to break down and talk about. So what do we have on the Aussie dollar? Similar to the pound dollar we saw before, it broke the rising trend line, came to retest once, completed two waves down, and right now bounces back upside. In terms of supply levels, we have key supply zone here. As we can see, last high of the downtrend acts as supply, last high of this uptrend acts as supply, and similar could be said about the next key zone, which is here, last high before the price flip, and the first high of this corrective move down as also a supply area. So these are the levels in terms of supply zones. Now, if we drop down to the 1 hour chart, take a look where we at. Last week, weekly zone. Currently, weekly resistance zone. Daily support resistance zone based on the pivots. Critical area here. And as long as it holds any pull back to the zone, maybe even with the attempt to clean this high, should be, of course, if the level hold and the divergence completes, should lead to the pressure to the downside. If the bearish pressure remains on, I believe we should see the daily supportive zone and the weekly pivot levels. That's pretty much in around the 060 580 down to 060 560 hold. Second key zone, as we saw before, is here with weekly second resistance based on the pivots and daily second resistance based on the pivots. If the pair rallies first of all to there, watch out for this divergence to complete. Higher highs on the chart, lower highs on the moving average of the MACD. Watch for the price rejection, sellers to step in and then push it back to the downside.